the revolutionary ankle lock system, an integrated brace built into the boots, delivering unrivaled support, protecting ligaments from twists, tears, and trauma.
Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and our Kings. We're here, Dave Coldwell. Dave, you didn't expect to see me, but I'm sure your day's got better because of it. How are we, mate?
Yeah, always bring a ray of sunshine into my gym, mate.
You know what, I was just saying to you before I got here, and it's not by chance or accident. I feel like I've done nearly every gym, especially up north, but apart from this one. And I know we speak quite regularly, so how have I not been at Dave's gym?
Is this the first time you've been in my gym?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. That is strange.
Not too far off as well, so maybe it'd be better to do it in person than over Zoom, so, you know, providing you give me access, I'll be back.
Let's see how this goes.
We'll see. Look, let's just start off. Something a bit different today. So I got a message last night saying Paddy Kenny's doing a session with Dave Coldwell. Had to read it twice just to make sure I'm
going to turn into a goalkeeper.
I just thought, well, is Dave going somewhere else? What the fuck is happening? Anyway, I did twig there is a charity event coming up, and I think it's always good to promote stuff like this for charities. October, I want to say 15th, 18th. Yeah, I'll correct that. There'll be a link in the description anyway for it. But yeah, Paddy Kenny, I've seen him today just have a little move around with you, and I know he's been training weeks prior to this. An exciting character in the football world. You know, if you know your football, you know Paddy Kenny. What's it been like? I know it's the first one, but he seems to enjoy it.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've known Paddy for quite a bit. He lives not too far from me, and I've noticed him out running. And I was like, oh, it's good that he's getting himself in shape. And you just think that's it. Next minute, it was my daughter, I think. She said to me, she's, oh, Paddy's doing a boxing fight. I was like, what? And then I got in touch. Stacky got in touch with me and said, would you do a bit with Paddy Kenny? I was like, all right, no problem. So yeah, in he walked this morning and done a good session, and I think we both enjoyed it. It's been good.
I'm going to say, obviously you train a variety of fighters. You've had big moments, world title fights, and dealing with prospects and people who are sort of mid-level who are trying to get to that. What's it like when you're taking someone from literally like no background at all, and you're having to strip them back to maybe take the emotion out of it? I spoke to him, I said, you're an emotive guy, so I can imagine when you're in that ring, that's the battle for you, maybe trying to make sure you're being a bit more composed so you can actually do things under instruction. But what's it like for you when you have to go back and strip it back?
I've done that loads of times. I used to have an amateur club. I used to train keep fitters. I've done all that sort of stuff before. It all depends on the individual. Paddy, even though Paddy's quite emotive, he's a good student. He listens, and I ask him to make an adjustment. He makes an adjustment, and it's just him remembering that, because he could have come in and I could have just beasted him on bags and done loads and loads of hard pads and making a lot of noise and aggression, and so he goes out of the gym having a really hard workout and feel, I've done. But then you can do that anywhere. They've asked for me to put a little bit of input into what I do, so I've slowed it down a little bit, put a little thought into it, and so if he can find moments of calm in the madness of what is going to be a swing up, then that'll benefit him.
Yeah, make sure you check out the link. I'll put it in the description for the interview that's going out with Paddy Kenny and Dave Coldwell, and on the social medias. Look, let's just flip this around a little bit. Late last night I saw anyway, the first face-off between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. An interesting press conference. I spoke to Gareth this morning. He said Gervonta looks like someone's just signed him up to this, and he's just turned up. Wasn't really that interested in Jake, but it's happening by all accounts. And I think 12-ounce gloves, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. There will be a winner announced. I don't know how that works when it's been classed as an exhibition, by the way, but your thoughts as this approaches?
A bit like Gervonta's face, to be honest. Not really asked. 12. Listen, the minute you start talking 12-ounce gloves as an exhibition, it's not a real fight. So I don't care whether there's a winner announced or not. It's not a real fight. 12-ounce gloves are probably to help Jake Paul not get rattled by a little guy, for his ego and his fan base. that's about it really. I think if stick some little gloves on Tank, and if Tank lands on that button, then it'll be a different story.
I was going to say, I remember speaking to you in, I want to say, Dublin, and you said, look, if this was a real fight, I can't remember your word for word, but you basically said he'll splatter Jake Paul.
Yeah. And that's not, listen, I get there's a size difference, I get that, but it's like there's loads of boxers out there that'll have sparred with bigger guys who you know, who perhaps aren't on the same technical ability as them, and they'll play with them and look after them. Even though you're sparring bigger guys, I've done it myself. Even though you're sparring a big cruiserweight or whatever, you're looking after them. It's Tank Davis. Tank Davis is exceptional boxing ability, and you can also punch exceptionally well as well. Yeah. Jake Paul's done fantastic in his space and how he's improved over the years, but he's still not very good. He's not anywhere near top level. So the weight disparity will drop, and Tank, if he don't want to get hit, he'll make him miss. And if it was a fight, Tank might, but it's an exhibition, so anything can happen. Tank might have been paid an extra $5 million, so he loses the exhibition, or it makes Jake Paul look good. That's why I don't care.
Do you know when you see it? So one thing that stood out for me last night, and I saw reporters asking him questions, he almost looks a little bit disheartened and fed up with the whole thing. And I look and go, for me, pound for pound talent, I'd love to see a pound for pound resume. And I look and think, please, can we just get these fights under?
I'm the same. We talk about in here, myself and the lads. Tank Davis, he's unbelievable ability. Fucking should be going down as a pound for pounder, but his resume is shit. His resume is like disappointing. After the Garcia fight, I thought that was it, because it was a high profile because of Garcia's following and everything, and I thought they were going to build on that and project him into a big superstar that he should be. But it's just been a damp squib.
I feel like he's on the cusp after the Garcia fight of becoming an absolute megastar. And look, I believe he is a star. He's a big star. That's why he's doing the Jake Paul stuff. And look,
but he's not a megastar. No, he's not a megastar.
The fights that obviously everyone wants to see is a Shakur Stevenson, a potential Devin Haney, depending on what weights they can get at. Do you think if he earns a boatload of money here, I always look and go, it may be harder to accept less for that, unless obviously Mr. Turkey Al Sheikh puts hands in his pocket, don't want to say overpaid, but pays them a handsome fortune to make that fight. Is there the fights where you look and go, can you imagine a Shakur Stevenson, Gervonta Davis, Las Vegas fight week, MGN Grand, Timo Bowden? For me, you look at that and go, take my money. But that's what you want to see.
It's as simple as Turkey Al Sheikh just saying, here you go, that's the money, make the fight. I know that's one of the fights that everyone's been talking about for years. Why hasn't it happened before? Why is it Jake Paul that's gone, here you go, shitloads of money, have an exhibition with me? Yeah. The fight's not, it don't look like either of them really want the fight. If they both wanted the fight to happen, with the people that's involved in boxing now, like Riyadh Season, The Ring, that fight happened.
I think as well, Shakur and Teofimo Lopez looks like it's close. I think, you know what, I think Teo sometimes, for some reason gets a bit overlooked when we talk about these fights. He's pound for pound one of the best when he's on.
When he's on form, that's the thing. The thing about with Teo is we always don't know which one turns up. But when he turns up, mate, he's right up there. He's right up there. And he's another one that you know, his career is a little bit frustrating for the ability that he's got and the talent that he is. Although he's I'm saying frustrating. He's been undisputed. Do you know what I mean? But he's somebody that you expected more from. Yeah. And I hope it's not too late. I don't think it's too late. No. I think he's got his head. It seems like he's got his head switched on. And so I want him to go into the big fights, and that's what we need. We need them all fighting each other. Yeah.
That crop, what we've mentioned there, it would be incredible. But look, let's talk about fights that are happening. I saw the press conference between Eubank and Benn, and I was a bit like, I wonder what the sort of narrative going into this is, because the narrative one before, big thing on the way, obviously the father not being involved turns up. It's a bit like WWE, and you're thinking, what an event. And this one, I was like, I watched an interview with Conor before, and he says, you know what, it's more business this time. I worked with emotion. Bomac is in for Eubank Jr. and I thought, there's a bit of spice there, maybe that adds to it. But then the comments about this ambulance, I was quite taken aback. I was like, when you see all the things that happen in boxing, and the worst thing that can happen in boxing for anyone, but promoters and health and safety people, is a fatality, a life-changing injury, people not being seen to on time, and look, there's things in place for that. So for that to get brought up, for Robert Smith to be labelled a scumbag, and all these things, and then there was a video yesterday, and he's almost jovial about it with Turkey Owl Shake. What do you make of these comments about ambulance not being allowed to leave for 20 minutes while he was on a gurney? Because that is something, regardless of why he said it, that needs looking into.
I think it's firstly, there's no way that a promoter is standing in front of an ambulance or telling people not to let an ambulance out. That's just stupid, because no promoter wants... I used to be a promoter, and I had somebody injured on one of my shows. It is a horrendous feeling. There's no promoter that's going to turn around to purposely try and stop an ambulance from... When a fighter's leaving an ambulance, that's quite serious shit, right? Yeah. You know, it's a bad knockout, or they're being stretchered out, or they're being taken for observation. If you're in a position where you need to go to hospital in an ambulance, that means that is out of the ordinary. That means that fight has taken a toll on that person. So you want them to get to the hospital as quick as possible. No promoter's trying to stop that. You know, no border control or whoever the organisation is trying to stop that. That's just foolish talk. Is the traffic? Is it hard trying to get out of a venue? Yeah. Have you been to these venues where there's 70,000 people rocking up? It's horrendous. So can I believe that an ambulance was delayed for 20 minutes? Yeah, I can believe that. But do I believe that Matchroom Eddie Hearn plotted and planned to make sure that his ambulance... That's horrific shit to talk about. That really is.
In terms of, obviously, moving away, staying on it, but sort of moving away from that topic, the fight itself, Bomac back in Eubank Jr.'s corner, I think he produced a great performance over Liam Smith, although I don't want to look. I find it hard talking about it because I feel like I'm almost taking away from it when I say that Liam Smith weren't Liam Smith from... But yes, but yeah.
The problem is when you decide, or if you're pushed in, but if you decide to go into the ring when you've got an injury, and plenty of fighters do, and it's very rare that the fight goes in 100%. But when you've got a serious injury and when you go into a fight, then you can't. Once you've said yes, you can't use it as an excuse. Yeah, that's 100%. It. It's done. It's that nobody cares. Okay. So Eubank did what he had to do, and it was, like you say, it was a very good performance. But taper it, and it's quite a while away. But taper it to what version of opponent he was in with.
Do you think this time round, who do you sort of give an edge to? I hear a lot of people say the first fight might have took more out of Chris than it did Conor, and going into this second one,
I think so.
Yeah,
I genuinely do. Going into the first fight, I thought Eubank could win, and he did, but I didn't expect. For the last few rounds, it looked like Eubank had no legs, and I've got all the respect in the world for him for how he dragged that victory out, how he dragged those punches out, especially in those last two rounds, round 11 and 12. Oh my God, were incredible to watch. You know how he dragged that out of him because he had no legs, and he was just forcing everything out. But he did it. It showed so much sheer guts and will, determination to win. But how much does that take out of him at this age? He's 36 now, right? Yep. It's very hard because that sort of stuff, you've got a few of those fights in you when you're younger. When you're older, there's a lot more damage that it puts on you. You know when they talk about leaving a little bit of yourself in the ring, it's a little bit of that. But let's not forget as well, all the way through Junior's career, I've heard his dad talking about how he'd have wars with heavyweights in sparring. And every spar is he's a warrior, is this, is that, blah. Well, there's an accumulation there as well. So there's a lot of miles on Junior's clock. Yeah. I actually think, got loads of credit for loads of respect for Conor Benn, how he performed in that fight. So I didn't think that he would be able to put up with that and to be able to go at that the for the length of time that he did. I thought you both men were brilliant in that first fight, and that's why I loved the first fight, unreal fight. But I think now, we always talk about you need a fight or two to settle into a new weight regime when you're going up in the weight. Yeah. He's had that and more, really, because it wasn't just a fight. He had every question asked of him in that fight.
He was throwing tests and questions when he threw out.
And so he will only grow from that mentally as a fighter. And the experience of being in that fight, the occasion of being, he's very emotional, isn't he? And the occasion, you can't tell me the dad's him walking out of the ring, seeing Eubank, on screen coming out with him, all that, plus the stadium, plus the huge crowd and atmosphere of that. You can't tell me that he wasn't burning loads of nervous energy in there. Now his approach seems a little bit calmer, and I think that helps Conor. But I also think that the actual what he went through in the fight makes him a better fighter, and I think he wins the rematch.
Yep. I completely buy into that take. I'm not allowing you to look at it from the outside. Look, I think things will get ramped up when fight week starts and all that kind of stuff, but it's going to be an interesting one. I appreciate you giving us your time as always. You got Lerone back on Friday. Let's talk about that just quickly. He's been with you a long time and he left, he's back and he's in a good place by all accounts. You pleased to see Lerone back out on Friday and finally get a chance to do a bit?
Yeah, because there's nothing more frustrating than training a fighter for a year and not getting fights.
Yeah.
Did that before, done that now. I just want to see him fight, get this one out of the way, and I need a delivery of a big fight from him. Any of them at light heavyweight, any of them, not bothered. He's that good, not bothered.
Well, look, it's good to see Lerone back, and hopefully, providing things go well for him this week, the doors will open. Fingers crossed.
There's a big show of light heavyweights on a Queensbury card coming up. Winners, losers, all the way through the card. Take any of them after this.
Message is loud and clear. Dave, appreciate your time.
Cheers, mate. Ta.
The revolutionary ankle lock system, an integrated brace built into the boots, delivering unrivaled support, protecting ligaments from twists, tears, and trauma.